Just look at this number for a second. 96.9%. So what is that? Well, that is the percentage of all new cars sold in Norway in June of 2025 that were fully electric. Just let that sink in. For every 100 brand new cars driving off the lot, basically 97 of them were pure EVs. It's wild.
And this chart really just drives the point home. I mean, look at how tiny those other bars are. Hybrids squeak in at just 2%. And old-school gas and diesel cars, they're a combined 1.1%. In 1 month, only 57 new petrol cars were registered in the entire country. This isn't a transition anymore, it's a total market takeover.
Now here's the plot twist, the really fascinating part. Norway is one of the world's biggest oil and gas producers. Its massive national piggy bank? Yeah, that was built on fossil fuels. So how in the world did this petroleum powerhouse become the undisputed global champ of electric cars?
Well, it turns out it wasn't some kind of magic, it was a plan. A clear, super consistent, long-term strategy. You could call it a playbook, and believe me, other countries are studying it like it's the final exam. It's really a masterclass in how you engineer a green revolution.
So this playbook, it's got 4 main moves. First, they completely flipped the financial incentives to make buying an EV a no-brainer. Second, they got rid of the political roadblocks. Third, they built the infrastructure backbone to make owning an EV easy and practical. And finally, and this might be the most important part, they just stayed the course.
Okay, so let's start with part 1, the money. Norway figured out something really simple. If you want to change people's behavior, you have to make the new thing the easy thing. And that almost always starts with their wallet.
What they did was so smart because they used both a carrot and a stick. If you wanted an EV, boom, no huge purchase or import taxes. You got big discounts on road tolls, and you even got to use the bus lanes to skip traffic. But if you wanted a gas car, get ready for heavy taxes and paying full price for everything. They basically made the choice for you. Do you want the cheap, convenient car or the expensive one that gets stuck in traffic? It's not a hard decision.
So having a great plan is one thing, but actually making it happen without a huge political fight, that's something else entirely. And this is where Norway had a unique, you might even say unfair advantage. That's it. That's the secret weapon. Think about places like Germany, the US, or the UK. The second a politician mentions phasing out gas cars, a massive auto lobby gears up to protect its factories and jobs. Norway doesn't have that. With no major car companies to protect, their politicians had the freedom to just push ahead with what they thought was the best plan for the country's future.
Of course, even a cheap car is useless if driving it is a pain. So that brings us to part 3 of the playbook, getting rid of range anxiety for good, and making sure the electricity was actually clean.
They went on an absolute building spree. We're talking more than 34,000 public charging points all over the country. They put charging stations about every 30 miles on all the main roads. The key here is that they built ahead of demand. They gave people the confidence to switch before everyone had an EV.
And this is so important. Over 10,000 of those are the super-fast DC chargers. You know, the kind that can juice you up in minutes instead of hours. This makes taking a long road trip, even through Norway's mountains, a total non-issue. It made the EV a car that could do everything a gas car could.
Now, this number right here, this is what makes the whole thing legit. A massive 88% of Norway's electricity comes from clean hydropower. So when people plug in their cars, they aren't just shifting the pollution from a tailpipe to a coal plant somewhere else. Nope, they're plugging into one of the cleanest power grids on Earth.
Okay, so you've got the money, the politics, and the infrastructure all sorted out. But the last piece of the puzzle, the final part of the playbook, is honestly the most important, and it's the hardest one for other countries to copy. It's simple, maybe even boring: consistency.
Look at this timeline. This was not an overnight success story. The first baby steps, the first EV incentives were way back in the 1990s. The big goal of hitting 100% by 2025, they set that way back in 2017. And critically, this plan had support from all political parties for over a decade. That kind of long-term stability gives people and companies the confidence to invest because they know the rules aren't going to suddenly change tomorrow.
And believe me, the world has noticed. When the CEO of a huge European company like Scania comes out and says, hey, everybody needs to do what Norway did, you know you've made a real impact. Norway has officially graduated from being a cool experiment to being the actual blueprint. So, if we boil it all down, the lessons from Norway are crystal clear. 1. Make the green choice the easy financial choice. 2. Be consistent with your policies so people can trust the plan. 3. Build the infrastructure before you need it, not after. And 4. If you can, power the whole thing with a clean grid to get the biggest bang for your buck.
The results really do speak for themselves. In a couple of decades, Norway has basically made the internal combustion engine obsolete in its new car market. They prove that with a clear goal and a whole lot of commitment, a full-scale electric transition isn't just a dream, it's totally achievable. So yeah, Norway has written the playbook. They've shown the world how it's done. The only question left is, who's going to be brave enough to follow it?